Hey everyone, and welcome. Every project has vital signs, kind of like a patient in a hospital. There's a pulse, a temperature, and today we're going to learn how to check them using two really simple but incredibly powerful metrics. By the end of this, you'll know exactly how to tell if your project is truly healthy or if it might be time for a little course correction. So let's just ask the big question right up front, the one that probably keeps a lot of project managers up at night. Is your project really on track? I mean, you feel like things are going okay, you see progress being made, but how do you know for sure? How do you get past that gut feeling and get to a place of data-driven certainty?
Well, the answer lies in this process called project monitoring and control. Now, I know it sounds a little formal, but think of it as the GPS for your project. It's this system that's always tracking where you are, comparing that to where you're supposed to be, and then helping you adjust the steering wheel to make sure you actually reach your destination. So how does this whole navigation system work? Well, it's really built on a simple 5-step foundation that helps us turn what can feel like messy, confusing data into really clear decisions. Let's walk through it real quick. It pretty much all boils down to these 5 things. First, you set your plan. Those are your baselines. Then you go out and collect data on what's actually happening in the real world. Third, and this is our focus today, you compare the two to find any differences, or what we call variances. From there, you make corrections, and finally, and this is so important, you communicate the status to everybody involved. So let's start with the first big vital sign on our project dashboard, money. The question is simple. Are you spending what you plan to spend? This is exactly where cost variance comes in.
Cost variance, or just CV for short, is a simple number, but it is incredibly powerful. It gives you a clear, immediate answer to that burning question, how are we doing on the budget at this exact moment? No guesswork needed.
Okay, so here's the formula. Don't worry, it's just 2 things. Earned value minus actual cost. The real power here comes from understanding what those 2 terms actually represent. So let's break them down right now. And here is the absolute key distinction. Earned value, or EV, is what you plan to spend for the work you've actually finished. Think of it as the budgeted value of completed work. On the other side, you have actual cost, or AC, and that's the real, cold, hard cash you've actually spent to get that work done. The gap between your plan and your reality, that's where the insight is. Now, once you do that simple subtraction, figuring out what it means is super easy. If the number is positive, congratulations, you're under budget. If it's negative, that's your warning sign. You've got a cost overrun. And if it's 0, well, you're some kind of wizard who is perfectly, exactly on budget. All right, let's make this real with an example. Imagine your plan budgeted $50,000 for all the work you've completed so far. That's your earned value. But then you check the invoices, you check the timesheets, and you realize you've really spent $60,000 to get that work done. That 60 grand is your actual cost. So you plug it into the formula, 50,000 in earned value minus that 60,000 in actual cost, and you get a cost variance of negative $10,000. That single number is your flashing red light. It tells you, clear as day, that you are $10,000 over budget right now. Okay, so we've checked our financial pulse. Now it's time for the second critical vital sign, time. Are we on schedule? To figure that out, we use a metric that is a very close cousin to cost variance, so this should feel pretty familiar. And that metric is called schedule variance, or SV. It's really straightforward. Just like how CV measures your cost performance, SV is all about measuring your schedule performance against the plan you made. See? The formula looks almost the same. It also starts with earned value, but this time, instead of subtracting our actual cost, we're going to subtract something different. Planned value, or PV. So what is this planned value thing? It's simply the value of the work you planned to have done by now according to your schedule. The key difference here is that we're comparing what you've actually done, your EV, to what your schedule said you should have done by now, your PV. And just like with cost variance, interpreting the result is a piece of cake. If it's a positive number, you're ahead of schedule. You've done more work than you planned. If it's negative, you're behind. And if it's 0, you are perfectly on track. Let's run through one more quick scenario. This time, let's say the work you've actually finished, your earned value, is worth $40,000. Now you go and check your project schedule, and you see that you only planned to have completed $20,000 worth of work by this point in time. That's your planned value. So when you do the math, the difference is a positive schedule variance of $20,000. What does that mean in simple terms? You're not just on time. You're absolutely crushing it. You're ahead of the game by $20,000 worth of work. So now we have our two key metrics, our cost variance and our schedule variance. And when you put them together side by side, they create this incredibly powerful at-a-glance dashboard for your project's overall health. So why does all this matter? Well, because gut feelings just don't work on complex projects. These numbers are your early warning system. They replace all that guesswork with hard data, so you can have clear, honest conversations with your stakeholders and make smart corrections before tiny little issues turn into major crises. This is how you build a real foundation for success. And you know, as the source material really emphasizes, this isn't just some abstract theory. When you systematically apply these techniques, you give yourself, as the project manager, the control you need to actually see your projects all the way through to a successful finish. So, you now have the fundamental tools to diagnose your project's health. You can take its pulse. The only question left is, what's the first thing you're going to measure? What's the real health of your project?